Welcome to this episode of the Entrepreneurship Drive with Cyrus.
Thank you.
And we ask also our members to continue subscribing to the channel. We are talking matters taxation today. And today we are lucky to have you as our guest, CPA tax consultant,
Yes.
which are very things we have a lot to look forward to in the discussion, because I think this is some of the things that are disturbing most of the entrepreneurs, both established and beginners.
Yeah.
But we can begin by understanding your background, a little bit of your background.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think for my name is Cyrus Murage. In regards to what I do, I'm a certified public accountant. I did my CPA, my BCom. I also did my MSc in finance. And I'm in a field that I've always wanted to be. I don't have another option. If I was to be anything, I'll just be an accountant.
You are gravitating towards mathematics.
Yes. I started way back. I think my first job, I started working around 2009. That's when I would say I started working somewhere through a friend who gave me a job. He was doing some printing works. We are doing everything. You wake up in the office in the morning, you're the accountant in a tie.
Yes.
Because he was a printer, go and carry papers from where you bring them to the office, and it was all that. So fast forward, the guy who had brought me, he had an auditor who was overseeing whatever I was doing. So he told me there's somebody who's looking for a car, would you be interested? So that's why I went to my second job.
At this time you had completed now the...
No, not really. I was still in school. Okay, I started working while I was still in school. I think I was around section 4. And I had not done my undergraduate and the other, so I was still in school. So I wanted somewhere I can make some money at least and be able to cater for my needs, for my school fees, my fares and all that. So I think my first job I was making 10,000. So going to my second job, I got a salary of 17,000. So for me it was an upgrade. So I worked there from 2010 up to around 2015. And that's when I decided to quit.
Yes.
I decided to quit not because of anything, but I had accumulated my necessary experience, and also I didn't want to have a career moving up in terms of, being in employment for long. Though there was nothing wrong, or there's nothing wrong with employment. So I wanted somewhere I could go and start and maybe serve people in a different capacity. So that's when now I left around September of 2015. So from there till now, that's when I founded my firm. It's called Smart Hub Consulting, where we do it in accounting, your bookkeeping and all that, your tax issues, and
Smart
the general.
Hub.
Yes, Smart Hub Consulting.
Smart Hub.
Hub. Yes,
Oh,
Smart Hub Consulting. Yes, Smart Hub is one and consulting has a different name. Yeah? So that's why I founded Smart Hub Consulting, where we deal in accountancy, taxation, and the general management consultancy for businesses. So I've been running Smart Hub Consulting from then since now, and we are here with the entrepreneurship drive to see how we can hold each other's hand and grow our businesses to be profitable and to be great as they are supposed to be. And it's an honor to be here.
Thank you. So if I'm new in business, like I remember these issues to do with the taxations are kind of foreign, because you are looking at survival at that particular level.
Yes.
So you realize that you are in the business for quite some time, then you realize you haven't done things like NSSF, NHIF, maybe even VAT.
Yeah.
I mean, for kind of a beginner, how does he handle these issues of taxation?
What you've said is very true. It's typical for most businesses. we are starting, maybe you want to transition from employment unakuja to start your own business. But most of the time you find this information is not available for beginners. So people just want to, I was an engineer, I want to start my own engineering firm, but I don't know the compliance requirements around running a business. So most of the time you'll find the most important thing is for me to, at least get some business, at least be able to take care of my personal needs. But at the back of the mind, most of us don't remember that is what is required from the government aspects. At least most of the time you'll find then people don't register the businesses. So they go too far without really coming and checking the compliance. And sometimes they are stopped on the way by, they go somewhere and they're required to be maybe a tax compliance, and now they have to go back. So when you go back to KRA and you find there's so much you have not done along the way, and now you're wondering, where do I start? Some opt even to close down the businesses so that now you like bury this one and you resurrect or get a new one. But then you find it's the same person. So the sins that you'd say call them sins that you committed in the previous business, they will still catch up with you.
What will make you bury the other one?
Because there are so many mistakes or there's so much you didn't do.
Yes.
And sometimes you might think, wacha hii kufe, I start a new one.
Because your liabilities
are too many.
Too many.
Or you find
like
that
you did not file VAT, so you have. Is that the case? Like you have a lot of penalties.
You have a lot of penalties. Yeah. You have a lot of, like you should have registered for an obligation. You never registered. You should have all those. Actually, the first starting point will be register the obligation.
Yeah.
But obligation, what do you mean by obligation? When you start a business, of course, when you start, everyone has the income tax. That's where you find anybody who's generating income as an individual, as a business, as a partnership, has the obligation of income tax. This is where you do all your income, you less all your expenses, then whatever remains, the profit of the loss, that's what is taxable. But though we don't tax the loss, you carry it forward for a period of years, for a number of years. But if you have any profits for a company, that's what will be taxed. If you have any losses, then you carry it forward to the following year. So the first thing is to know your obligation as a business owner or as an individual who runs maybe a consultancy and that. So when you talk about obligation, there are quite a number of them. One of them is the income tax we've talked about. On the other hand, we have things like VAT, we have the pay-as-you one, we have the withholding taxes, we have now the TOT, the turnover tax, we have the rental incomes for those with properties, we have, those are mainly the basic obligations. And they fall due, they become due when you get a certain threshold. Or some of them you'll be required to do by the nature of business, and also you have the nature, the threshold, and also maybe you can also be appointed, especially for the withholding taxes. You're appointed by a KRA depending on the volumes and all that. So the most important thing is to understand yourself, then from there, you'll take the necessary action. And the best time is always at the beginning. When you begin as early, that's when you avoid a lot of pitfalls that most businesses, like the one you're saying, you let it die and pick a new one. So if you start early, then you'll avoid those many pitfalls and your business will grow in a compliant way. Compliance is always the cheapest, is always the easiest, and it makes you have an easy life in the world of business.
That's right.
Yes.
This thing of burying a business, I want just to zero down because that a little bit there, because I think it is something that might be very widespread, that might because I've seen it quite a lot. And basically the work that somebody has put in for quite a long time. Including the name of the business. If you are known by that name, you end up trading by shelving that name and beginning a new one. Then it means there must be very grievous
issues that
items that have happened, so that you choose that direction to choose. You change your identity literally.
Yes, yes. I think even as you're saying, you also lose on the brand that you've created for so many years. And then you have to decide one day, I want this thing to die, all this has to go down the drain. I think it's a very unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
But imagine if you got some, the information, and thanks to entrepreneurship drive, where you're giving this information to already people in business or those who want to start. So if you started early, like when you want to build a house, you need an engineer, you need a consultant, somebody can, who is conversant with the building or how the building is done.
Yes.
So it's always important to, if you don't have the knowledge, get somebody who will hold your hand through the journey, so that you don't get into such a situation. But you have to abandon a business you've grown over the years, it has done so much investment, and now you think the sins are too many.
Yeah,
And I think also we need to, it's important to say there are no too many sins.
Yes.
If today you find yourself, you have so much liability, I think it's always possible. Go to KRA, go to whichever body that, they could also be other regulatory bodies like KRA, NSSF, NHF, NITA, and all those, even professional bodies. And maybe come up with a structured way of dealing with your tax issues or your compliance issues. So that now you're given some time to do what? To comply or to regularize whatever was not right, rather than lose your whole investment. So for us, I would advise, don't abandon. And also maybe it's important to mention, it also could be more of a cultural issue.
Yes, yes.
Because the culture you had in business A, most likely you might carry it in business B.
But hypothetically, what would be the issues that would make this guy?
So for them to warranty closing down?
Yes.
I think one of them is, of course, non-filing of your tax. From the point of you don't know what you're required to do, and now you feel that if I'm to comply, it might cost me too much money because there will be interest, there will be penalties, which have accrued over time. You see?
Yes.
So when you feel that the burden is too much, I think that's one of the reasons why people see, I think the best way is to not throw good money after bad money, if you can say that.
Yes.
So wacha hii ikufe and I start a new one. You know, when you find typically mtu anakwambia instead of usiandike check kwa hii jina, andika kwa hii ingine. So now that they are transition.
Usilipe kwa hii
account, lipa. Ni yangu tu, it's my own account. So you find now those are the scenarios. And sometimes you don't give a very good picture.
Yeah, that's right.
As to your customers or to the people you're dealing with, you look like you're somebody who is very dodgy.
You're shady.
You're very shady. So to avoid vitu hizo, I think it's important to get it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think get it right from the beginning. It's cheaper, it's easier. Yes, as you progress. And also maybe for the business owner, I think it's always important also to familiarize yourself with these things.
That's right.
Get somebody, if you think it's too much, get somebody who can begin with you from the very company registration, and they'll take you up the ladder as you grow.
Yeah. And I think we can look at now the major areas of taxation.
Yes, the major taxes. The major taxes.
Business. Now we have different for sole proprietor, hustler, and what.
Oh, okay.
But we could, I don't know where we would want us to, do we look at the companies?
From a company
From a company setup perspective.
Okay. The one we had spoken about is the income tax, which everyone has. Either you're in business or employment. That one is given to everybody when they acquire a PIN. Income tax will be the company that registers today automatically get assuming they'll start trading.
Yes.
If it's a sole proprietor, you have your income tax individual. The other one for the company is income tax company. We also have income tax partnership. So for the individual, the tax, it's where you said you do the sales, you less your expenses, then whatever you get a profit, you're taxed using what is called the graduated scale. Graduated scale is the one that I don't know starts from 25%, 30, 35, going that on. They have what are called the tax bracket. That's for an individual. Then when you come to a company for income tax company, your tax at 30% of the profits, not 30% of the income.
Of the income.
So you make a million shillings in a year, you less, maybe, let's say, for example, what you call the cost of sales. Whatever you sold, you had incurred this cost to purchase.
Yes.
Let's say, for example, you sell a million, you had bought those items for 800,000. So you get what we call a gross profit of 200,000. So out of that, you incur some expenses about 100,000.
Yeah.
So you have a taxable profit of 100,000. So the 100,000 is what will be subjected to 30%. Yes. So that is when you come to tax company. So the principles are the same even when you come to the partnership. There's the income tax partnership. For a partnership, the company will get a PIN, or the partnership will get its own PIN, but the income is never taxed on the company itself, on the business.
Yes.
If you have 2, 3 or more partners, you do what you the income, the expenses, and everything else, but that income is assessed. What we call, when assessment is assessed on the individual, the owners, because as per the law, a partnership has no legal entity. It's not an entity its own. Like when you have, as long as the partners are there, the partnership exists. If one of them ceases or bankrupt or such as stipulated under the law, then the partnership will cease to exist. So the partnership income is assessed on the individual. Under the same principle, that is the profits, with its own working and different. So that is about the income tax. So I've started my business, I've gotten my income tax. The next thing, the next important obligation for us to have as a business is called the PAYE. For PAYE, that is pay as you earn simply. That is, it's assessed on the people you engage as employees.
Yes.
And this one, it's important to mention, includes the directors of the company. I'm myself.
Yes.
I'm the one generating the income. I've not employed anyone. So at that point, I'm required to have PAYE and remit to KRA, since I'm the one who's generating the income.
Let me ask a question there. Is this pay as you earn subject to this level of employment, where we have casuals, we have permanent employees, contract employees, those different spectrums? How does it apply, or does it applies to all of them at the same meaning?
So if you have the case of casuals, maybe somebody, they come for 1, 2, 3 days in a month, then you pay them, then they don't fall under PAYE.
Yes.
They'll be declared under what we call the wages aspect of the business.
Yes.
What is important to mention at this point is you need to have the records of the casual, the people. Maybe in a month you've incurred so much. Maybe you just got a container, hire some people to offload for you. So you need to record that summary somewhere, so that, because it will come to affect you towards the income tax company or income tax at the end of the year.
As an expenditure.
As an expenditure. Because in essence, your total PAYE, especially for a business, your total salaries, expenses should be equal to the monthly PAYE that you've been remitting for the whole year.
Oh,
Okay?
Yeah.
So, but now you find you've incurred wages for casuals, but KRA might ask you, you have more salaries, expenses than what you can see on your, they are called P10s, the monthly pay as you earn remittances. So that's why it's also very important to do what? To keep the record, so that you can support. These were not employees, but they were rather casuals. That's the case of the casuals. You don't have to remit. But if you have somebody, maybe I need to highlight this. Let's say, for example, you find you employ somebody, they make 15,000 salary in a month. So, and the minimum taxable amount right now in Kenya is 24,000. And most businesses, what they do, these are below the threshold, so we don't need to include them in our payroll. In essence, they don't resort to any pay as you earn for the monthly. But when you remember, we talked about the salary wages expense at the end of the year.
That's right.
Yes. So these people will come now to help you capture properly or the correct figure for your salaries and wages for the year end. So even if they are below the 24,000, include them for the end of year aspect of the salaries and wages.
So,
Yes.
at this point, what is the important document to have, or rather, for that record? What are the important? Is it just Excel sheets or contracts? What are the ones that you will use to file that will be admissible to the?
To KRA for the wages, for the casuals.
Yes.
Most businesses will use what are called petty cash vouchers. You hire me today, Eric, or somebody or whoever, I have paid you 500. So I'll write on my voucher and say, Eric, for offloading, 500. I go to the, so I'll maintain all those vouchers and maybe at the back can do an Excel summary for that particular month. So that now, whatever is I'll have in my end of year, it can also be supported. And maybe that makes it, once you have the vouchers and the summary, that will be a good record for you.
Okay.
Yes. So we've talked about the casuals, and also it's important now to, there's a different dimension. I don't know if we talk at this point, the housing levy and the NITA.
Yeah, we can.
Yes. So the moment we've put this person as somebody who is below the threshold, automatically they will now, you'll be compliant with the affordable housing levy deduction, because now that will also, now you need to work the same so that you remit the required housing levy, affordable housing levy for that individual. So apart from not paying PAYE, you are compliant on the affordable housing levy. And also there's something else that is called the NITA, National Industrial Training. It's National Industrial Training something authority levy.
Authority, yes.
Which is 50 shillings per employee per month. So you might not pay the PAYE, but then you'll be able to remit those two other levy that are done hand in hand with the PAYE. So the moment you start with yourself, and also it's assumed you and the business are two different entities. So you earn a salary from
the business.
From the business.
Yes.
The business money is not your money. So the salary you've assigned yourself, is it $1 million? Is it 100,000? It should be subjected to taxation. And I think also when you do that, it's also a very prudent way of financial management, because you avoid the assumption that the money is in the account, it is my money. That one now separates. You engage more people. You just need to do what is required for your staff. That is, mtu anakuja na KRA pin.
Yes.
If they didn't have the KRA pin, then you ask them. You can help them acquire a pin. It's very easy to get a KRA pin. You can help them register with NSSF and also NHIF. So once somebody is working with the organization, I think those are the three very important documents they should have: a KRA pin, NSSF, NHIF. So then you'll be able to comply with the PAYE.